I'm your host, Donna Cates, and each week we'll dive into powerful stories, expert strategies, and practical tools to help you take charge of your financial future. Whether you're planning for retirement, navigating a divorce, or simply looking to build your wealth with confidence, this is your space to grow, learn, and thrive. Let's get started with today's podcast. Hello, everyone. I'm excited today to introduce you to Leah Woodward, who owns luxury media brands and is also Chief Marketing Officer of Legacy Jets. So, Leah, I'm really excited to delve deep into your career journey now. Can you give us about a 90-second overview of what it is that you do and why you got into it, please?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm a recovering media personality. So, the one thing the media does do is teach you how to brand. So, I actually really love branding and luxury branding. And most people think it's logos and pretty pictures. It really isn't. That's kind of the frosting on the cake. It really is about messaging, um, a strategy, position, and consistency. And that's really what I focus on through visuals, through graphics, through messaging. That's what I do.
How awesome. So tell me, why did you get into that? You were a recovering media expert, and this
Mhm.
led you directly into actually branding and helping people with that.
Well, love I love magazines. I always have. I got my first magazine subscription from my grandma when I was 15, 17 magazines. So I have had a love for magazines my whole life. And there's something magical about print. And despite being on camera talent, there's something about going through glossy pages. And there's not the time suck and the commitment of a book. And the pretty pictures, what I really like about them is it just draws you in, it draws in all your senses. And people read them cover to cover.
And I find that I'm a tactile person too. I would rather have something to touch than just reading it online. So
Oh,
have you
yeah.
have you felt a shift in the business because of all of the internet stuff these days?
No, in fact, they say print is dead. I can tell you that is not true 100% because what happens when you go to the grocery store checkout line? It's all magazines, and that is the most expensive shelf space in the store.
I
So,
did not know this.
yes, it is the most expensive space in the store, and everybody wants to be there, and you have to either be a magazine or gum. You
Well, that's something that I did not know today. Well, tell me, what do you see as the biggest problem in your industry right now, and what are you doing to solve that?
You know what? I really love small businesses. And what I'm finding is most people don't have clarity. You can't really build your business or your brand without clarity. And the biggest, I say luxury media brands, but really, almost everybody has to have a luxury brand. And the reason I say that, you have to have a personal brand along with your company brand because people want to do business with people.
Wow.
And in the luxury jet space, I can tell you it's a very people centric business. The higher the dollar, the more they expect. It's high tech, high touch. And so that it has to be an experience. And if you have a good brand, they're going to get a sense of that experience before they even meet you.
And how do you help people figure out how to illustrate or promote themselves through that branding? I know you
I
said
do.
it's not just the logos and such, but I'm curious.
No, it's through, it's through their messaging online, and whether we like it or not, we live in a web world, and it's oversaturated, and the only thing that you can do is stand out. And if you have a beautiful color palette and your messaging really is targeted to your ideal audience, and and the graphics and the messaging all fall in line and you're consistent, then people are going to see you. And it used to be, it took people 22 times to see you before. It's even more than that now because there's so much saturation on the web. So you have to capture their attention with your graphics right away. Your Facebook, your LinkedIn, even your email campaigns, they have to look the same. I see this, I look at people's Facebook and their LinkedIn, and if I have to figure out what you do, then you haven't figured out your brand.
Oh, interesting. Now that's making me self-conscious. I'm going to have to go look at mine. I might get you to give that a look too. Well,
I'll be happy to do that for you, Linda.
okay, awesome. Tell me what makes you unique in the way that you're working with these small business owners and big businesses, all of the things.
Well, one of the ways I do it, like my husband wanted me to be a full-time CMO, but I still run my own company. So I said, I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is build an amazing, beautiful brand. This is a printed magazine. This is Legacy Quarterly. It's beautifully branded. We always have somebody that's famous on the cover. Guy Fieri was amazing. What a great guy. I could talk food with him all the time, but we get celebrities on the cover. I've had everybody from Suzanne Summers to Kevin Sorbo to all kinds of people. And the reason, who's going to say no? Hey, we'd love to put you on the cover of our in-flight magazine. Yeah, that's got a little cachet.
That sounds
So,
awesome.
and everything is branded. The magazine's black with gold label, and we have black matted cards with gold foil for the logo and the name. Everything is very, very minty. It matches perfectly and it's concise. So when you look at what we do, our cards or anything, you know exactly what we do. You will not have to guess what we do.
Got it. Got it. So, where do you see the industry going in the next 5 to 10 years, and how are you staying on top of that?
Well, that's a really good question. And I'm just going to tell you that it doesn't matter what the economy is, the rich people are always going to be rich. So they may spend a little less, although we're seeing a big uptick right now. Really, what you have to do is you have to give people what they want. You have to give them an experience, and you have to be different than your competitors. And again, you got to put in the reps, you got to show up, you have to be consistent. And again, it's people centric. Well, you can have all the pretty graphics, you can look amazing online, but it's also your staff and your front line that is going to be the front line to your customer. So you have to have amazing staff. Our pilots are amazing, our staff is amazing, our sales team, they're all perfect, and they're very people centric.
And that sounds essential. So, let me shift gears just a little bit and ask you, what is the biggest challenge that you faced thus far in your life, whether that's personally or professionally, and how has that shaped how you're doing business today?
Well, I wish I could say it was only one thing. There are multiple. There was the time that I was on camera talent and they took the right side of my face off, and this was all reconstruction. So I lost my job, I lost my face, I lost my income, and my husband at the time filed for divorce. So I lost everything. And it would be 11 months and five surgeries putting me back together again. But fortunately, one of my clients was there for me at that time. And really, he loved me when even I couldn't love myself. And eventually, a couple years later, we started dating, and we've been married for 10 years now.
Oh my goodness. Isn't that fabulous? So, and he was a friend and he was there to support you through all of the hard stuff. And then you
Well,
had,
actually, he was a client.
oh, a
He was a
client. You did say that. My bad.
Yeah, he
Awesome.
was a client. I did the LLC and the marketing for him, and his dad had a software company. And we just sometimes those special people show up in your life, and he just happened to be one of them, disguised as a client.
That is so awesome. And we have to be open to receiving those gifts, don't we?
I was, yeah, I'm so blessed. But you know, there's always going to be trials and tribulations. This is our second jet charter company. Our first one we had problems with our first partner. Now we don't have partners. You know, we ended up in litigation. Then he sold his share to somebody who was worse than him.
Ooh,
So we ended up walking away. It cost us a lot of money, but we've recouped it. But we ended up walking away, starting all over, and within 2 years, we're bigger than we were before.
wow.
Because first of all, we've been in it longer now. We've got the staying power, but we know how to treat the client. We know the business. We love it. And it makes a difference. If you don't love what you're doing, your customers will know that you don't like what you're doing. So the key is, and I have mixed feelings about this. People say all the time, you have to do what you love. And that's true. But your why has to be bigger than your excuse, because it doesn't matter how much you love your job, because there's always taxes, there's always something about it you won't like. You know, end of month financials, it doesn't matter, but you've got to love it, and you got to put the reps in, and you got to keep showing up, and you are going to have struggles, and anybody that tells you that you won't is lying to you. And nobody is self-made. I don't care what they say. You have to have mentors, and you really just have to dare to care for your clients. Your time with your client doesn't start after they pay you. It starts and stays forever. Your
Uh,
job is to build the relationship.
and that so is so true. It's, we talk about relationships and how having strong relationships actually builds, the business. But what you just said really resonates with me. Dare to care about your clients, and even doing that before they become paying clients. That's what sets you apart.
It does. People have to know you, like you, trust you before they're going to buy from you. And
Right.
the only way you can really show that and convey that to them if they don't know you is to really have an amazing brand and amazing messaging. And you've got to stand out in the crowd, because there's so much noise on the web. The only way to stand out is to be different.
Hmm. That's awesome. Well, let me ask you another personal question. If you could have lunch with one person, whether that person living or deceased, who would it be and why?
Eleanor Roosevelt.
Okay.
I think she was a woman way before her time. And I don't think that history really portrays her the way it should. And I've been blessed because I've got to interview so many wonderful people, but I have loved her since childhood. And the women of suffrage, I mean, it's scary, that to think that there are people in this country that don't want us to vote.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
We are so blessed, and I've lived abroad. So, being a military brat, I've lived abroad, and the people that make these decisions have never traveled. So, I feel like unless you've been to other countries, we are not perfect, but we're better than most of everything out there. And I believe, I really believe in democracy, and I believe your vote matters, and I think one person can make a difference.
Absolutely. And I so appreciate you bringing that to the forefront too, because, when we look, just it wasn't that long ago when women could not even get a mortgage in their own name. Didn't matter what kind.
I was one of those people.
Really, right? And that wasn't long ago.
And so,
I mean, what, 20, 30 years
no,
ago? Yeah.
yep. And even
Unbelievable.
though I had the money for a down payment, I had to send it to my mother and have her send it back and hope that my stepfather wouldn't spend it, you know. Even though it was in my savings account. So yeah, no, it hasn't been that long. And there are people that would like to take that away, and I probably shouldn't say that. But I really believe that Eleanor Roosevelt put us on the right path.
Awesome.
as
Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful. Well, tell me, Leah, if people want to get in contact with you, look at working with you, having you look at their branding, or maybe even being in that magazine, how do they do that?
just go to Luxury Media Brands,
Okay. Me.
luxurymediabrands.com, or just Google me. My name will come up. It's Leah Woodford, Woodford.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, everybody, please check it out and you will love her branding. It's beautiful. So, thank you so much for being a guest today, Leah. We appreciate it.
Oh, it was my pleasure, Donna. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Awesome. I hope today's conversation left you feeling inspired, informed, and ready to take the next step in your financial journey. Remember, building wealth isn't just about money, it's also about creating a life that aligns with your goals and values. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with the women in your life who deserve financial empowerment too. Until next time, stay confident, stay empowered, and keep building the life you desire.